जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोधनंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा बनचारी यमुना तीरा बनचारी यमुना जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे राम हरे जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा जय कृष्ण जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय
जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की जय जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस शील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय श्री श्री कृष्णा रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय विश्वगुरु शील प्रभुपाद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, verses 25 and 26. Sahasra Shirasam Sakshad Sahasra Shirasam Sakshad Sahasra Shirasam Sakshad Yam Anantam Prachakshate Yamanantam Prachakshate Yamanantam Prachakshate Sankarshana Akhyam Purusham Sankarshanakyam Purusham Sankarshanakyam Purusham Bhuta Indriya Manomayam Bhutendriya Manomayam Bhutendriya Manomayam Sahasra Shirasam Sakshad Yamanantam Prachakshate Sankarshanakyam Purusham Bhutendriya Manomayam Sahasra Shirasam Sakshad Yamanantam Prachakshate Sankarshanakyam Purusham Bhutendriya Manomayam.
Sankarshanakyam Purusham Bhutendriya Manomayam
Sahasrashirasam Sakshat
Sahasrashirasam Sakshat
Yamanantam Prakashyate
Yamanantam Prachakshate
Sankarshanakyam Purusham
Sankarshanakyam Purusham
Bhutendriya Manomayam.
Bhutendriya Mano
Sankarshanakyam Purusham Bhutendriya Manomayam
Sahasra Shirasam, with 1,000 heads. Sakshat, directly. Yam, whom. Anantam, Ananta. Prachakshate, they call. Sankarshana Akhyam, Sankarshana by name. Purusham, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhuta, the gross elements. Indriya, the senses. Manaha Mayam, consisting of the mind. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The threefold ahankara, the source of the gross elements, the senses and the mind, is identical with them because it is their cause. It is known by the name of Sankarshana, who is directly Lord Ananta with 1,000 heads. Kindly repeat. The threefold ahankara, the source of the gross elements, the senses and the mind, is identical with them because it is their cause. It is known by the name of Sankarshana, who is directly Lord Ananta with 1,000 heads. So this verse does not have a purport. So I'll read the next verse, its translation and the purport by myself. Kartrutvam karanatvam cha karyatvam cheti lakshanam Shantagora vimudhatvam iti vasyadahankrite. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. This false ego is characterized as the doer, as an instrument and as an effect. It is further characterized as serene, active, or dull, according to how it is influenced by the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Ahankara, or false ego, is transformed into the demigods, the controlling directors of material affairs. As an instrument, the false ego is represented as different senses and sense organs, and as a result of the combination of the demigods and the senses, material objects are produced. In the material world, we are producing so many things, and this is called advancement of civilization. But factually, the advancement of civilization is a manifestation of the false ego. By false ego, all material things are produced as objects of enjoyment. One has to cease increasing artificial necessities in the form of material objects. One great Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, has lamented that when one deviates from pure consciousness of Vasudeva or Krishna consciousness, he becomes entangled in material activities. The exact words he uses are Satsanga chadikainu asate vilasa te karana lagila ye karma bandha phasa. I have given up the pure status of consciousness because I wanted to enjoy in the temporary material manifestation. Therefore, I have been entangled in the network of actions and reactions. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mokam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Yesterday there was a news that in the Saudi, United Arab Emirates, a person who was famous as the sleeping prince, he passed away. Why was he called the sleeping prince? He was, he was about 35 years old. In 2005, when he was 15 years old, he was traveling in a car, and that car met with a severe accident. And because of the accident, he was hospitalized in a coma. And for the last 20 years, he has been in coma on life support in the hospital in Saudi, wherever his place was. The father refused to take off the life support all these years, saying that we don't know, God may create a miracle, he may wake up, we don't know, so let us not remove the life support. 20 years they were waiting, and finally, yesterday or day before yesterday, he passed away. So there were photographs of this man, 35 years old, lying on the bed and surrounded by his father, brothers, etc. They were mentioning how maybe a few years back, some time back, there was a period when, although he was in coma, he would respond to certain sounds. He would lift his finger a little. He would turn his head when commanded. Like this, one or two functions he was able to do, although he was in the coma. That was actually giving the relatives a lot of hope that yes, he will recover. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. interesting thing is that even when he is in the coma, some point of time, there was a period when he was responding, however little, to voice commands. He was able to lift his finger, turn his head, and things like that. That means his mind was still active, although the body had become inactive. Body might have been lying, inactive for so many years, but the mind is active. And that is why when somebody gave a voice command, lift your finger, he is lifting. Turn your head, he is turning. So that means mind is active. But the mind is not active to the real world. The mind is busy somewhere else. And that is why he is in a coma. If he had woken up from the coma, he would have been active. His mind would have been alert to his surroundings. Who he is, who his father is, which nationality he belonged to, what is his gender, etc., etc. All those things he would have been aware of. But in the coma, the mind is active, but he is not aware. He is not alert to the reality. So this kind of, in a coma, when the mind becomes absorbed in some other situation, it becomes whatever alertness it had with respect to the body, to the world, it loses that alertness. So this kind of situation is very similar to all our current situation. Although we may be thinking, I am conscious, I am aware, I am not in coma, my mind is properly functioning, we may be thinking. But actually the mind is in another kind of coma. What is that? That is called in the Vedic scriptures as moha, illusion. Illusion that I am this body, I am a man, I am an Indian, I am a Hindu, I am an American, I am a Christian, Muslim, woman, etc., etc., etc. So our consciousness, our mind is now alert to this, that where I am born, what is the family in which I was born, and what is the current body I am having. But reality, that the body is impermanent, it is temporary, it is going to be destroyed. So we are absorbed in the bodily concept of life, which is actually not a reality. And we are asleep to our original reality. What is our reality? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mamaivamcho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha. We are all eternally part and parcel of Krishna. We have an eternal existence in the spiritual world. We have an eternal relationship with Krishna. We are completely asleep. We are in coma to that reality. And in fact, we are living, we are experiencing, we are alive in this bodily world which is temporary. So, actually speaking, just like that sleeping prince was in a coma, but his mind was active, but not to that reality of the material world, but his mind is active in some other sphere, which is a mental plane. It has no existential reality in terms of the body of the material world that we all see and know of. Similarly, we are in coma to the reality of the spiritual world. And under moha, under illusion, we are thinking I am this body, and we are very much alert to the body and the bodily activities and the bodily plane. So this is called moha or illusion. And this moha or illusion, how does it come about? That is being described in these two verses by Kapila Deva. So he is saying that kartrutvam karanatvam cha karyatvam cheti lakshanam shanta gora vimudatvam iti vasyat ahankritehe. So because of the false ego, we have identified ourselves with the body, and we are in a coma with respect to our actual original constitutional position in the spiritual world, and we are absorbed in the current bodily plane, which is not a reality. And this is because of the false ego. And this false ego, how does it work? It has, the false ego is symptomized by three things. Karyatvam, Kartrutvam and Karanatvam. So Karyatvam meaning the effect or the result of one's actions. Karanatvam being the instrument or the cause. And Kartrutvam being the doer. This is described by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita also. That if we want to become liberated, if we want to come out of this cycle of birth and death, we have to overcome these three aspects of false ego or ahankara. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Prakritehe kriyamanani gunaihi karmani sahasracha. So the Prakritehe kriyamanani gunai karmani, the activities that we think we are performing actually are performed by the three modes of material nature. But what are we thinking? Vimudhatma, the foolish living entity, is thinking out of ahankara, false ego. We are thinking, what are we thinking? That we are the doer. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. Ahankara, out of false ego, vimudhatma, the foolish living entity, the deluded living entity, karta aham iti manyate. He thinks that I am the doer. I am actually doing things. I am picking up some object, I am keeping it aside, I am doing it. And Krishna says that is an illusion because the activity is actually being carried out by the three modes of material nature. We think, I like this kind of food, therefore I am eating this food. I like this kind of music, I like this kind of sports. We think this is my liking, therefore I am doing. What is the reality? The three modes of material nature are influencing us. What kind of food I should like, what kind of sports I should like, what kind of faith I should have. Everything is determined by the three modes of material nature. Therefore, Krishna says, Vimudhatma, the deluded soul thinks I am doing. But behind what is happening, the three modes of material nature are carrying out the activities. So to think that I am the doer is actually a foolish proposition. And actually, if you see the whole world today, they run on this philosophy. Especially management. Somebody you go for management or for, management training, or there are these motivational speakers. Yes, you are the doer, you can do it. Yes, positive thinking. They are reinforcing the foolish idea that you are the doer. So the whole world today, if you see, is running on this. Not only this, the other two aspects of false ego also. Krishna speaks about that also, the other two aspects of false ego. Krishna says, Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhur mate sangostva karmani. Krishna says, you have the right to only perform the duty. And when we perform the duty, Krishna is saying, Kartaham iti manyate, don't think you are doing. The three modes of material nature are forcing me to do. According to the influence of the three modes of material nature, I have certain duties according to the Shastras. I'll do that duty. And when I'm doing that also, I am not doing. The three modes of material nature are making me perform those actions. Therefore, Krishna says that Karmanyevadikaraste, you should only think of your duty. Not that I am the doer. This is my duty, it has to be done. Then Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Kadachana, never think ma phaleshu, that you are the cause of the result of your activity. Which is described here as karyatvam. Don't think the effect or the result. You have caused it. You are not causing it because the action themselves, Shri Krishna Rukmani Satyabhama ki. Because the action them itself is being done by the three modes of material nature. You are not doing. So therefore, how can the result be caused by you? The result is also the cause of the interactions of the three modes of material nature. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetuhu. Don't think that you are the cause of the result, which is mentioned here as karanatvam, being the instrument or the cause. Don't think that you are the cause. Generally, the false ego, how it works is, first of all, whenever you do any activity, false ego, it will influence you to think, I am the doer. And because I am doing this, I am causing the result. And because I am causing the result is for my enjoyment. I am the doer, I am the cause of the result, and I am the enjoyer of the result. Kartrutvam, Karanatvam, Karyatvam. Kartrutvam being the doer, Karanatvam being the instrument or the cause, and Karyatvam, the effect, that I am the enjoyer of the effect of the result. So, the Krishna is telling, Ma karma phala hetuhu, don't assume the cause, don't assume that you are the cause of the result, nor think that you are the doer, and nor should you think that you have the right to enjoy the result. If these three things we give up, I am the doer, I am the cause of the result, and therefore I am the rightful enjoyer of the result. If these three things we give up, then what will happen? We are out of the influence of ahankara or false ego. Then we can be situated in our real ego of being an eternal servant of Krishna. Now, how do we get out of this ahankara, out of the influence of false ego? How do we become free from the thinking that I am the doer, I am the cause of the result, and I am the enjoyer of the result? How do we become free from this? Theoretically, we may understand, but in practicality, how do we do this? And to be able to overcome this kind of false thinking, to overcome the influence of the false ego, what do? We try to undergo various attempts through the different yoga systems. Karma yoga, Jnana yoga, Ashtanga yoga. We perform all these yoga systems. What is the goal of doing all this, undergoing all these yoga systems? The goal is to become free from the influence of false ego. To come out of that influence of false ego. That's the goal of all the yoga systems. But then, how effective are these yoga systems? In the Srimad-Bhagavatam, in the 4th canto, there is an instance where when Prithu Maharaj is conducting sacrifices, the 4 Kumaras, the Sanat Kumaras, they come to that sacrificial arena. And the moment they come, Prithu Maharaj receives them and he poses certain questions to them. And when the Kumaras start speaking, Sanat Kumara, in speaking to Prithu Maharaj, he mentions one thing. He says, Sanat Kumara tells Prithu Maharaj, Yat pada pankaja palasa vilasa bhaktya karma sayam gratitam udgratayanti santaha. So he says, Sanat Kumara says that the santaha, the devotees, the pure devotees of Krishna, what they do is, Yat pada pankaja palasa, by constantly meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna, pada pankaja palasa, the tips of the lotus feet of Krishna, they are constantly thinking of. They are not even looking at the lotus face of Krishna. They are simply looking at the lotus feet of Krishna. That too, the tip of the lotus feet of Krishna. And simply by doing this, what happens? Yat pada pankaja palasa vilasa. They are enjoying a certain bliss, spiritual bliss. Whether we engage in spiritual activities or material activities, we have to ultimately, it has to result in vilasa. This is the reality. As Prabhupada is quoting Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he has written a song, Satsanga Chadi, Kainu Asate Vilasa. I have given up the association of devotees. And what am I doing? Asate Vilasa. I am engaging in enjoying matter. Asat means matter. So, Satsanga Chadi, Kainu Asate Vilasa. So, I have given up the association of devotees, and when I give up the association of devotees, what happens? I have to engage in enjoying matter. Asate Vilasa. And when I engage in Asate Vilasa, what is the next consequence? Te karane lagila ye karma bandha phasa. The result of enjoying matter is karma bandha phasa. The noose of karma bandhana gets tied around my neck. It gets tightened around my neck. Karma bandha phasa. So when I engage in enjoying matter, what happens is, along with that, I have to suffer or enjoy the reactions. It results in papa and punya, which binds me to repeatedly take birth and death within the material world. So this is a noose which is around our neck. We cannot break free of this noose of karma bandha. And why is this karma bandha coming? Because kainu asate vilasa. We are trying to enjoy matter. And why are we trying to enjoy matter? Satsanga chadi, because we have given up the association of devotees. So vilasa has to be there, whether you engage in material activities or spiritual activities. So Sanat Kumara is saying, Yat pada pankaja palasa vilasa bhaktya. By engaging in devotional service to the lotus feet of Krishna, it is not that a devotee is bereft of enjoyment. No, he is also vilasa, he is also enjoying. But he is not asate vilasa, he is not enjoying matter. He is enjoying meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna. He is enjoying hearing about the pastimes of Krishna. He is enjoying chanting the holy names of Krishna. He is enjoying hearing about the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad-Bhagavatam, etc. in the association of devotees. So the devotee is also enjoying. So if ultimately material and spiritual activities are resulting in vilasa, enjoyment, then how are they both different? Yat pada pankaja palasa vilasa bhaktya karmasiyam gratitam udgratayanti santaha. The same thing, karmasaya or karma bandha phasa. When we engage in asate vilasa, when we engage in enjoying matter, what is the result? Karma bandha phasa. The noose of material bondage gets tightened around our neck. When we engage in vilasa, enjoying the pada pankaja palasa, we engage in enjoying the lotus feet of Krishna, serving the lotus feet of Krishna. What happens? Karmasayam gratitam. The hard knot, the very tight knot of karmasaya or karma bandha, entanglement in material affairs, being bound to the reactions of material nature, of material work. What happens? Karmasayam gratitam udgratayanti. It is uprooted. Once for all, it is torn apart. There is no question of again tying the knot. Finished, once for all removed. Just like if there is a tree. You cut a tree at the base, you cut off the trunk of the tree. After a few days, you will see slowly one branch is growing and one leaf is coming out. Why? Because the root is still there. So, if you remove the tree along with its root, you uproot the tree, then there is no chance of the tree again growing. So, karmasayam gratitam udgratayanti. The devotees who are engaged in enjoying the bliss of serving the lotus feet of Krishna, those devotees, what happens? They uproot the very cause at its very foundation, at its very root. They uproot the cause of our bondage to repeated birth and death within this material world on account of our material activities. On the other hand, when yogis, karma yogis, ashtanga yogis, jnana yogis, when they take up their path, what happens? They are unable to uproot. Tadvanna rikta matayo. So, the way a devotee, by rendering devotional service to Krishna, he uproots the very cause of his bondage to the material world. Tadvanna, in the same way, Riktamatayaha, those who are engaged in Vairagya, renunciation, Tadvanna Riktamatayo, Api, and even though such renunciants, they are, what are they doing? Sorry. Even though such yogis, Ashtanga yogis, Jnana yogis, they have all renounced the material world and they have gained control of the material senses. Although they have controlled the material senses, still what happens? They cannot, tadvanna riktamatayaha, they still cannot uproot the cause of their bondage to the material manifestation, to repeated birth and death. Tadvanna riktamatayo, aranam bhaja vasudevam. Therefore, aranam, we have to bhaja Vasudevam, we have to render devotional service to Vasudeva, Krishna, who is Aranam, who is the only one worthy of taking shelter. So, Sanat Kumara gave this wonderful instruction to Prithu Maharaj, that if you really want to uproot the cause of your repeated birth and death within this material world, if you really want ultimate liberation, permanent liberation from the cycle of birth and death, then the only way is to engage in devotional service to the lotus feet of Krishna. And the liberation that you will get by engaging in pure devotional service to Krishna cannot be achieved no matter what other yoga system you may undertake, even though externally they may be very renounced, they may be in full control of their senses, and all these things may be there, but still they have not uprooted the cause of their bondage to the material world. That cause is that propensity to enjoy matter. Therefore, if we want to really get liberated from the material world, if we want to overcome the influence of false ego, the ahankara, which is manifested in the form of kartrutvam, karanatvam, cha karyatvam, cheti lakshanam. The symptoms of false ego are manifested as being the doer, being the cause, and being the cause of the result. Being the cause and being the enjoyer of the result. So these three symptoms of false ego can be removed only when you render devotional service to Krishna. By other yogic processes, it is not possible. And this false ego, it is seen in three different forms. That false ego, that I am the doer, I am the cause of the result, and I am the enjoyer of the result, is manifested in three different types. What are those three different types? Shanta, Gora, Vimudhatvam. Shanta, Gora, Vimudhatvam. Shanta means serene. So somebody is in Sattva-guna, like all these yogis and philosophers and all these people. Their activities, their sense of I am the doer, I am the enjoyer of the result, I am the cause of the result, it will all be done in a very peaceful mode. Very nicely, with proper arrangement, cooperatively, everybody with proper cooperation, in a very nice way they do it. And second, this one is when the people are influenced by the mode of passion, it manifests as a Gora Rupa. Intense activity, Gora Rupa. And the third one is Vimudhatvam, very dull, no proper direction. This is the way the doership and being the cause of the result and enjoying the result manifests itself. So to give an example, this time when I gone to the United States, devotees had taken me to one Amish village. In the US, United States, the Amish are a very small group of people. And these people, their beliefs are that we should not engage in too much of mechanization. They don't believe in using machines and stuff like that. So this Amish village, they live in a village, few thousands only. So village means countryside. and lush green, acres and acres of agricultural fields and all that. So when we went there, I was standing on the main road and I was watching what is going on. And a few cars were coming and going. And many people from the cities have come to visit this Amish village. So it's a tourist attraction. And they have tours, they conduct tours where there is a person who will take you to different places and explain how the Amish live. So I was standing outside their main tourist office where one by one vehicles were coming, and there is a bus tour which is people were getting ready to get into and all that. So as I was standing there, one car passed, and then after a little while, a horse buggy started coming by. A horse buggy in the olden days in the West, you would see 4 wheels are there, and there is a covered carriage, and there is a horse which is pulling it, and there is a horse driver. So there was this horse driver. He's running the, he's driving the horse, and the buggy is going like that. So these Amish live like that. They don't have motor cars. They don't have bikes. Even for agriculture, they don't use tractors, machines. They use bulls, even today. And their belief is, if you use machines, it is against the natural way of life. So everything, they believe that man should work hard physically. So they don't use machines at all. And they live in very, like in the olden times, like that. So this is called the Amish people. So you see, to live a normal life, machines are not essential. You can live in the villages, you can produce your food grains, that too without tractors and such other stuff, with simple bulls and oxen, you can actually carry out your life. That is a peaceful way of living. That is Shanta. And you will find some people, they don't like to live in the city. They like to live in a village, have a very simple lifestyle, have a relaxed way of living. So they are attracted by that. So there also same 3 symptoms of false ego are there. Karyatvam, kartrutvam, karanatvam. That I am the doer, and I am the cause of the result, and I am the enjoyer, the rightful enjoyer of the result. The same 3 symptoms of ahankara are there. But it is manifested, it is carried out in a very peaceful manner, which is in line, in communion with nature. Then there are people who are not satisfied with this. What they will do? Why we should use oxen and bullock and struggle hard? Let us build big machines. And what they will do to build the big machines, they'll build a big factory. And in the factory, people will have to work hard, day and night, toil, and take up severe stress, and develop all kinds of psychosomatic diseases, toxic work culture. All these things they will have to undergo. Why? Because somebody has got this idea that why we should do all things in a nature identical way, nature, in communion with nature. Let us do it with machines. Why people should travel in a horse buggy? Let us have motor car. So if you have to have a motor car, you have to have a factory. Factory means people have to work in the factory under difficult conditions, spoiling their health, physical health, mental health, living far away from their families, because the factories will be somewhere outskirts, outside the city. So the people have to leave their families and come and live there and work. So you see, this is Ghora Rupa. This is Ugra Rupa. This industrial civilization is Ugra civilization. Meaning, you don't want to do things peacefully. You are not satisfied with what you get by doing peacefully. You want Ghora. It was, full of intense activity, straining the mind, body, pushing it to its limits, and creating all kinds of problems. Problem after problem after problem. You invent the motor car, and then because of that, the climate change is happening, pollution is happening, so you come out with electric car. Now that electric car, after 5 years, 10 years, when you have to dispose the battery, another environmental crisis will happen. Like this, creating problem after problem. That is called Ghora. Ghora is the Ghora Rupa. This is the severe form of the false ego manifested out of contact with the mode of passion, Rajoguna. Then there is the Shanta Ghora Vimudhatvam, the mode of ignorance, the same Karyatvam, Karanatvam, Kartrutvam manifested in the mode of ignorance, where there is no purpose in life, there is no goal in life, simply like animals engage in sense gratification. Somehow eat, sleep, drink and defend oneself. That's all the goal of life is. There is no thinking about others, about the welfare, what is the purpose of life, what is the goal of life, how to improve ourselves. No such thinking. Somehow or the other, I have to enjoy. Today, if I am able to eat, sleep and defend myself and mate, I am happy. That's it. That is all the goal of my life is. This is the same Karyatvam, Kartrutvam, Karanatvam. That I am the doer, I am the cause of the result, and I am the enjoyer of the result being manifested in a Vimudha form, which is dull or out of ignorance, out of contact with the mode of ignorance. So, all these three forms of three types of the manifestations of the three symptoms of the false ego results in karma bandha phasa. It results in the noose of the network of actions and reactions to our activities. And if you have to overcome that, if you have to come out of that network of actions and reactions, then the only way is Yat pada pankaja palasa vilasa bhaktya. Bhaktya, by rendering devotional service to Krishna alone is it possible. Otherwise, we will be caught up in the coma of thinking that I am the body, and we will be active only to this temporary manifestation, temporary reality, and instead we will forget the eternal reality, which is devotional service to Krishna and life in the spiritual world. So therefore, we should not get caught up. We should not remain in the coma of material life, bodily concept of life. Instead, as Narottam Das Thakur is saying, Satsanga, we should associate with devotees, pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada, and by such association what happens? We will be able to come out of the coma of bodily identification, and we will be able to cut the noose of the network of the reactions and actions to our activities, and by that we will be able to go back to Godhead, go back to Goloka Vrindavan and lead an eternal life free of birth, death, disease, old age and all other kinds of miseries. So I'll stop here. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss. If anybody wants to add something or you have got anything to say, yes please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Hare
please
Krishna.
accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
So Prabhu, as we know, we are not the doer, we are not the cause of the results. So what am I in that entire process?
I am the experiencer. I am the observer. I am the seer and experiencer. That is why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Kshetra Kshetrajna. Kshetra is the field of activities, that's the body. And we are, what are we? We are Kshetrajna. We are the knowers. We know what is happening. We are experiencing. Although we are not doing, we are experiencing the results.
But I have a hand in how the result, if the result will come or not, right? I can decide how much of the result will
I am deciding the decision of mine is coming how? On account of the influence of the three modes of material nature. Same activity, different people will react differently to it. For example, suppose you come into the temple hall tomorrow. Okay, forbid it. Let us not take the example of temple hall. Suppose you go to your room now. And suppose you are staying in the hostel in the college. You go to the room, you have 2-3 other people who are sharing the room in which you are staying, let us say. Okay. You go to the room and you find somebody has kept one bottle of whiskey there. What will be your reaction? Oh my God, who brought this? You know, why this kind of nonsense thing is there? It is stinking, take it out. That will be your reaction, right? Now, suppose your friend comes and let us say your friend is a drunkard. When he comes, what will his reaction be? What a feast. Today is, a celebration. Got a full bottle of whiskey is sitting here. So your decision to enjoy that bottle of whiskey or to reject it is coming from where? It is coming out of the influence of the three modes of material nature. A person who is in the mode of ignorance, when he sees that bottle of alcohol, he will say, oh, this is enjoyment for me. He will think, let me go ahead and enjoy it. Person in Sattva Guna, when he sees that alcohol, he will see bondage, he will see sinful reactions, he will see suffering. You understand? So therefore, your decision to either take that bottle and drink it or to take it and throw it out. Which decision, how you will decide? It is by the influence of the three modes of material nature. So in reality, you are not deciding. The three modes of material nature are deciding. Therefore, you are not the doer.
Can the person have free will to be in which
Free will is there. Free will is very infinitesimal. We think that we should have absolute free will. Absolute free will belongs only to Krishna. When it comes to the jiva, when it comes to the living entity, everywhere Prabhupada says the living entity has infinitesimal free will. Very little free will we have. What is that free will? Either to serve Krishna or not to serve Krishna. And, in between, if there is, these are two extremes. One is to serve Krishna, one is not to serve Krishna. The use of the free will. Then there is also, in between it is manifested as, whatever I have to do, whatever I have to enjoy, let me do it according to dharma. So, in the Vedic scriptures, how I should enjoy, it is given, I will follow that and I will enjoy. Another is, why should I follow any religious scripture? I will freely enjoy, I will do what I want. This much only free will you have. The moment your jiva misuses his free will and decides, I don't want to serve Krishna, immediately he is under the influence of the three modes of material nature. After that, there is no more free will. You understand? And if the jiva uses his free will within that material world to know, I am fed up with this material life, I want to serve Krishna. That free will, if you use, immediately Krishna will take you to a pure devotee, spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada, engage you in devotional service, purify you and take you back to Godhead. Then you are no more under the influence of the three modes of material nature. Then you are controlled by Yoga Maya. You have to be controlled either by Yoga Maya or Mahamaya. If Yoga Maya is controlling your free will, then you always use your free will only in serving Krishna. And if your free will is controlled by Mahamaya, you will always think of sense gratification. So your free will is very limited, very minute. We don't have absolute free will. I decide what I want to do. You cannot decide. Because nature of jiva is tatastha shakti, marginal potency. Means it has to be either under the control of antaranga shakti or under the control of bahiranga shakti. Either under the control of the internal energy of Krishna, Yoga Maya, or under the control of the Mahamaya, which is bahiranga shakti. So, the living entity always has to be under the control of one of the energies of Krishna. Then where is free will? Free will is limited to deciding whether I want to surrender to Krishna or not surrender to Krishna. That is called infinitesimal free will. Is that okay?
Thank you, Prabhu, for clarifying.
Hare Krishna. Yes, please. Kripeshwar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
In chapter 18, 14, verse 5 factors of action
Yes.
are described. In that, if you see Adhishtanam, Karta, Karanam, etc.,
Yes.
in that purport also, soul is given as the doer.
Correct.
So,
In the sense that the soul has to be there. If there is no soul, no action will happen. Matter cannot act, no. Matter by itself will not act. Soul has to be there. Then only desire comes in the soul. According to the desire, the three modes of material nature will influence and the jiva will engage in activity. Action comes from where? From the living entity, not from dead matter. Dead matter cannot act. Therefore, one of the factors for success is the soul. Because if the soul is not there, action itself is not going to happen. Am I clear? So therefore, the soul is also one of the factors in action or in achieving success. All right. We'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Prema.